Team Henny, what is up? Henderson here. New video. I wanted to give you guys a video that speaks to the equipment that I use, the software that I use. A lot of questions I get. The first things I get are, what mic do you use? What software do you use to make beats or to record? What keyboard is that? So I'm just gonna list all of the equipment that I use to create music. I've pretty much had the same equipment for the last 8 years. There's been a few changes here and there, but this is pretty much the equipment that I have used to create all the songs that I've made. And I just want to show people that it's not totally about the equipment that you have. It's more about if you know how to use it. First up, we have the computer that I use. I have an iMac. I got this computer probably 4 years ago. And I know what some people are thinking. It's an expensive computer. I can't afford to buy that if you're just starting out. But I will let you know that I haven't always had a Apple computer. I haven't always had an iMac. When I first started out making music, I had a Dell, I believe, and it was a pretty cheap one. It wasn't that nice. There was nothing special about it. So I recorded a lot of my music on that Dell computer. And then I got a MacBook laptop, and I used that to record a lot of my songs. The ones, like all I got was recorded on this MacBook Pro. But I remember for some reason it got messed up and it had to go back to the Apple store and they had to fix it. I recorded more songs on the Dell computer while my other computer was getting worked on, and I recorded songs like In Love. I recorded Thinking About You on that Dell computer. So it really didn't matter the computer that I had. It was more the fact that I knew how to use the programs on the computer. Next, I have a keyboard, pretty simple keyboard. It is a MIDI, just plain Jane, doesn't do anything special. It doesn't have drum pads, doesn't have built-in like a sequencer or anything like that. All I basically use it for is to play the keys on my songs and beats, and sometimes I do drum programming with it, but there's nothing really special about it. I think my parents bought it for me years ago for like $100. So that's all I use. Nothing fancy. It's just a regular MIDI keyboard. Next up, I have the headphones that I use, and I have switched back and forth between these headphones. Right now I have a pair of Sony ones. Before I had some AKGs, and it really just depends on what you prefer. Honestly, it's whatever you want, and these headphones I think range anywhere from 100 to like 150. So yeah, choose whatever headphones. Like, there's super fancy ones and very expensive ones, and for me personally, I've never needed anything over $150 headphones, and I've even mixed stuff with way cheaper headphones. Next up, I have my studio monitors. They are my speakers that I use to mix songs with, and they are KRKs, Generation 5, I think, Rockets. Honestly, I usually mix more with my headphones because that's kind of how we listen to music, but they're great speakers to have. I've had them for the last 8 years, and they work great. Next up, we have my microphone, and I get this question all the time. What kind of mic do you have? What kind of mic do you use? I have a AKG C414, I think, and it's not a crazy expensive mic, but it is if you're just starting out on the more expensive side. But let me tell you, so I bought the microphone because by that time, the microphone I had been using was kind of dying out, and I had used it pretty much to the most of its capabilities. So it was time to get a new one, and I had started gaining fans and making a little bit of money, so I was able to make the leap to buy the microphone that I have now. But just to say that the microphone that I used to record my biggest song, All I Got, and a bunch of other songs was a $200 mic. It was a very cheap mic, but it sounded great. I figured out how to use it, and yeah, so I'm just saying that's all you need. Like, it's great. The mic that I have now, I think when it was new, it was around $1,100. But that's not, you don't need to have an expensive mic or expensive equipment. That's pretty much the whole point of this whole video, to let you know that you can just work with what you have. There are plenty of cheaper options that can produce amazing results. So yes, just know that this software work process that I use is something I kind of figured out around 4 years ago. It works for me, it's not for everyone, and also 4 years ago you couldn't do what you can do now. You can have one program do all the steps that I do, but I like to do it this way. I'll probably change it soon, but this is just what works for me. So for beats, I use Reason, and I use Reason because I like their stock sounds. In the very beginning, when I first started making beats and I didn't have a lot of money to buy extra sounds and things like that, Reason, their sounds out of the box, stock sounds sounded the best as far as their strings, their pianos, everything. So I used that for the instruments. And then I would export my instrumentation into FL Studios, because for me, FL Studios, super easy for drum programming, and it just works for me. I use it a lot for sampling. It just makes everything easier. And for mixing and mastering my vocals, I go to Logic Pro, and it's just worked for me, and that's my workflow. You can do it whatever way you want. I honestly just believe the program doesn't matter. The software doesn't matter. You just need to learn how to use it, and you can do whatever you want with it. So whenever anyone's, what program do you use? What software? And how do you do this? And what are your presets? Just learn a program that you like, that seems intuitive to you, and just figure it out. Dive in, go on YouTube and check out videos on how to use it and how to manipulate and do certain things. And I think you'll be fine. You'll be all right. It really just, it's not the program, it's the person working the program. So there you have it. I told you about the computer that I use, the microphone, the headphones, my studio monitors, and the keyboard that I use, and the software that I use to make all the music that I make, that I have in the past years. I hope this video has shown you that you do not need an expensive setup, that you do not need a certain program. None of that's gonna make your music good. What's gonna make your music good and make your sound quality is staying dedicated to one program, and figuring out how your equipment will work for you. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing more stuff like this about my career, about life, and whatever you guys want to know about. In the comment section, maybe put something you want to hear about. I don't know, just a question, something you're curious about, and I might answer it in a video. So yeah, and side note, my song Louder came out last Friday. Thank you guys for playing it. It's I really like it. I think it's dope, so take a second to listen to it, and we'll be doing a video on Wednesday, and a new song's coming out Friday. But for now, Team Henny, I love you guys. All right, peace.